This next one is, well, it needs no introduction. GTA 4. The official next one with a number in its title. After Vice City and San Andreas. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. As one of the most anticipated games of all time, there's a lot of pressure on Rockstar. As any gamer knows, there's a time to be excited about games and a time to be disappointed by games. But what most gamers can agree on is that there was a time when something called E3 existed, and it was the most exciting gaming event that occurred every year. Now, in recent years, it's sort of disappeared. Once COVID hit, companies just sort of found ways to show off their stuff independently, and they didn't need E3 anymore. If you've never heard of E3, it stands for Electronic Entertainment Expo. And it's an event every June, or was an event every June, where all the big companies come together and show off all their new games for the year. And it's like Christmas for gamers, or the Super Bowl, or the World Cup for gamers. Just a super exciting event where they show off a ton of cool stuff. And it used to be really big. The reason I bring that up is because today I have in front of me a copy of a Game Informer magazine. Now, when I was in middle school and early in high school, I paid for a Game Informer subscription. And this was, I believe, the very first Game Informer I ever got. Which, funny enough, it turns out to be my most favorite one that I ever got. And today, I wanted to go over a multi-page spread that they have in here from 2007 that details their top 50 games of E3 in 2007. Their top 50 most anticipated games. And just to give you an idea of the games that came out in 2007, we've got, of course, Halo 3. We've got Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare, so Call of Duty 4. We've got Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect. I believe Rock Band came out in 2007. And Guitar Hero 3. Bioshock came out in 2007. There's a lot of games that came out that year. It's often considered like the best year in gaming. I mean, that's a biased statement, of course, but a lot of people, at least in my age group, really consider this year to be the best year in gaming ever. So I wanted to go over those top 50 and kind of see where some of these big games land. You have to remember, this magazine came out before these games came out. So we're talking impressions, not experiences after they've beaten the game or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see their impressions on these games. And there's a bunch of others too. It's the top 50, so we'll probably skim through the bottom 20 or 30 relatively quickly, but then I want to take some time on the top 10 for sure. I have not looked at this in years, so I don't remember where everyone lands on this top 50 list, but if you are a gamer in this time period, then you're about to hopefully enjoy a trip down memory lane a little bit. So, let's get into this Game Informer. This was a magazine you could subscribe to through GameStop back in the day, back when people shopped at GameStop. I haven't been to GameStop in a long time. I buy everything digitally now. The games that I do buy, when you grow up, you don't play as much when you get older, but you kind of just accept that new stuff usually isn't as good as what you grew up with, so. And you might recognize some of these games. I should probably say this was one of my favorite games of all time. And I think not enough people played it. I mean, GRAW, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, we called it GRAW back in the day. This game was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. Super tactical shooter. The new Ghost Recons just don't quite do it for me. They're just not at this level of technical gameplay and strategy. John Woo Presents Stranglehold, that was a pretty fun game. I only ever played the demo, but you could do dives into slow-mo and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. So anyways, let me skip ahead and look for the top 50, and I don't want to accidentally reveal the top ones. Let me just go through a few pages here. Let's see if I can find. There's BioShock. Amazing game. Okay, here we go. So this particular page has number 50 all the way to number 32. And as we get closer to the top 10, the pictures and descriptions do get bigger. So I figured we would start here. And what I'll probably do is I'll read the game's title, the platform, and then just maybe what it is. And we might look at the picture. It looks like there's a picture for each game. So you might know some of these games. I'll let you know if I know them or don't. I have a feeling I don't know a lot of these, but this is the best of what 2007 had to offer, at least the second half of 2007, because E3 was in June, so whatever came out before that probably isn't in here. Okay, so number 50 is Smarty Pants. This is for the Wii. This quirky trivia game has up to 4 players widely swinging their remotes as they raise their hand to answer, spin game show style wheels, and engage in dance-offs and tug-of-wars powered by the Wii remote. Here's a picture of the game. I never actually owned a Wii. I haven't owned a Nintendo. Well, I own the Switch, but before that, I didn't own a Nintendo console since the N64. So I skipped quite a few. So which of the following is a vertebrate? It's definitely not jellyfish. Okay, that's number 50. Number 49. I have heard of Thrillville, but I've never played it. Thrillville Off the Rails. Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation 2. That's weird to see. Nintendo DS and PSP. What is it? Last year's best-selling original children's intellectual property returns in a big way with the introduction of death-defying woe coasters. In this sequel, you have complete customization control over everything and can compete in 34 mini games. Here's a picture of Thrillville Off the Rails. Never played it. I played a lot of Sim. Is it Sim Roller Coaster? Sim Theme Park? I think it's called Sim Theme Park. Played a lot of Sim Theme Park on my PS2 back in the day. Never Thrillville. Per 48 Fracture. I have played this. It was only the demo, but I have played this. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. What is it? Using weapons that modify terrain to suit their needs, soldiers of the future fight for world supremacy. So this modifying terrain thing, if you ever played it, you'll remember that I believe your gun or some tool that you have can be used to raise and lower terrain, and maybe more if you play the full game, I'm not sure. But in the demo, it was kind of cool to raise and lower the environments that you're fighting in. Didn't do very well, didn't sell very well, but the idea was pretty cool. 47 Patapon for the PSP. What is Patapon? Patapon is an oddball action platformer that incorporates rhythmic button pressing in the action. Okay, never heard of it, but there's Patapon. If you had a PSP, let me know if that was a decent title or not. Art style seems kind of cool. Number 46. World in Conflict. Xbox 360 and PC. This sounds like an RTS, and that's, I believe, what it is. A beautiful tactical, real-time strategy game predicated on a modern Cold War breaking out into open conflict. I'm going to read why it's hot. I'm kind of curious. The visuals are unbelievable, and the small-scale RTS gameplay lends itself to intense, intimate battles. Let's see a picture of this game. There we go. Yeah, it looks like a small-scale RTS where you have a small group of troops or something. Never played it. So out of the first 5 games, I've only played Fracture, and that was only a demo. 45. Tabula Rasa. This is for the PC only. There's a picture of it right there. Let's see what it's all about. An action-packed sci-fi MMO from Lord British, the creators of Ultima. Living battlefields full of enemies on missions give Tabula Rasa's game world an organic feel unrivaled by other MMORPGs. Never played it. Here we go. I want to show you the picture before I read it. Project Gotham 4. If you've never heard of Project Gotham, chances are you're too young. But Project Gotham Racing was essentially the prerequisite to Forza. The racing game Xbox put all of its time and energy into before Forza became real big. So, I played the third one, I believe, but I've never played the fourth one. Xbox 360 exclusive. If you've driven in a heavy storm before, you know how dangerous it can be. Changing weather is one of the aspects that really make this next iteration so enticing. We also like the idea of bike versus cars. Why is it hot? Racing fans around E3 could be heard saying, "Did you see how the rain rolls off the car? The game is a visual knockout, and the variety that the weather and terrain variations add to the gameplay should make it one hell of a ride as well." Cool. 43. This game here. I'll show you a picture. This game was supposed to be what they called it, the Halo Killer. And I don't know if that's a self-prescribed nickname from from Sony and the developers, but that's definitely the name it was given for a while. And I never played it, but it didn't do so hot. I'm sure it was fine, but... So PlayStation 3. Timesplitters developer Free Radicals take on a futuristic war fueled by bombastic weaponry and drug-addled soldiers. Haze features 4-player co-op throughout the campaign and sees you switching sides in mid-war, giving you the best of both worlds in terms of weaponry. The Nectar drug allows your soldiers to go into a killing frenzy upon the push of a button. So I'm going to read how it stacks up because I saw the word Halo in there. The dynamic, non-scripted AI should help Haze stand out from the pack and make it a PS3 exclusive for the holiday. Gives it more of a fighting chance than going against Halo 3 on the Xbox 360. Okay, next up, Devil May Cry 4. I played the demo of this game. It's the only thing I've ever played Devil May Cry was the demo to Devil May Cry 4. Not quite my type of game, but a lot of people like it. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. What is it? The 4th installment in the stylish action series features a new hero. Oh, I thought the same hero was Dante. I thought Dante was the hero the whole time. And goes multi-platform for the first time. Why is it hot? The Devilbringer expands the old gun and sword formula by adding throws and grabs to your arsenal. Producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi was the mind behind Resident Evil 4 and the original Devil May Cry. Okay. Alright, last one on this page, number 41, The Simpsons game. I've never heard of this. I think everybody knows The Simpsons Hit and Run, but I have not heard of The Simpsons game. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation 2, Nintendo DS. 4 playable family members battle their way through familiar characters and locations in a cell-shackled Springfield. It's a parody game with no direct ties to the film and is loaded with obscure references to the show and tongue-in-cheek jokes. I'm surprised that it's above Devil May Cry 4 and Haze and Gotham, Project Gotham Racing 4. I'm surprised that the Simpsons game is more anticipated from Game Informer than those other 3. Okay. On to number 39. Let me move something out of the way. Here we go. Sorry. On to number 40, rather. Everyday Shooter. Here's the picture. Not exactly sure what I'm looking at here. Just a bunch of shapes or something. Everyday Shooter for the PlayStation 3. A collection of shooter games in the vein of Robotron or Geometry Wars, but with some added music game elements. I love Geometry Wars. The first one anyways. I didn't care for the other ones, but the first Geometry Wars was amazing. Why it's hot. The PC version received some critical acclaim, and now console players will be able to check out the game for themselves when it comes to the PlayStation Network. Okay. Number 39. This was a huge game for the PlayStation 3. What is Infamous? Following the same path as Naughty Dog's Sucker Punch, the developer of Sly Cooper is taking a stab at a more realistic, action-focused game. Why it's hot. You may look like an Avenger or an average Joe, but you actually have superpowers, and it sounds like you can use them for either evil, throwing cars and electrocuting people, or good, activities that bring about the response, meh. I think I played this game, maybe the demo. I played a lot of demos back in the day. When you're a kid, you don't have money to go and buy a bunch of games, but Infamous, probably not the best picture they could have chosen, but it was a well-received game, so. Number 38, Soul Calibur 4. What are we up to now, I wonder? In the last 15 years, how many more Soul Calibur games have we had? PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. It's a fighting game. It Continuation of the long-running fighting franchise with a beefed-up character creator and luscious visuals. The addition of online play and a few balance tweaks are more than enough to have us anxious to get our hands on this. Soul Calibur. I think Soul Calibur 2 on the PS2 was a great game. I really liked it. Weird characters. Super weird characters, but it was a pretty fun game. Okay. Now here's one I'm surprised is this far down on the list. Fable 2. I'll show you a picture. There we go. The first Fable is one of my favorite games. I absolutely loved Fable. What's funny is I never beat Fable 2. Like I said, as a kid, you can't get every game you want when you want it. And I just never bought it until much later. And I didn't get very far. I was busy with like Halo 3 and stuff at that point. But anyways, 360 title. If you thought that the original Fable was widely inventive, just wait until you see what Peter Molyneux has planned for the sequel. That name is one of the most infamous names in gaming. This guy, he makes a lot of promises that he doesn't keep, so I'm sure he did the same thing here. With a canine companion at your side, your sword doubles as a conductor's baton, and no matter how thoroughly you get beaten, you'll likely never die. Molyneux is always looking for ways to innovate, and from the little we've seen thus far, Fable 2 is already showing a new approach to combat with its rhythm-based mechanics, and also death in video games, which is being replaced with cosmetic scarring on the character. Interesting, so the more you die, the more zombie-like you might look like. You don't actually just have to restart from a checkpoint. Okay, number 36. De Blob. That's De Blob right there. Never heard of De Blob. Which makes sense because it is a Wii title. And I didn't have a Wii. When an evil corporation takes over and outlaws all color from the world, it's up to the adorable De Blob to bring life back to his city. Players will be able to mix different colors and then bounce across buildings and create music in the process. 35. Warhawk. There's your picture for Warhawk. I played this game's demo as well. I did play the demo for Warhawk. PlayStation 3. This was a huge selling point, up to 32 players online, which was huge. The PS3's only exclusively multiplayer title features fast-paced air, armored, and infantry combat across huge maps. Picture a futuristic battlefield, hopped up on steroids and stimulants. That's not the greatest description for it. It was a bit more goofy. Battlefield was gritty and more down to earth. This was more cartoonish, I think. That's not a negative aspect, by the way. It's just a comparison. Why it's hot. Waging war on an epic scale is never dull, and Warhawk has all the tools necessary to wage a successful online campaign, including clan support and a ranking system featuring unlockable customization. Okay. Next up, played the demo. There's Civ Revolution. This was, for people who'd never played Civ before and who only played on console, probably a great game. I enjoyed it because I never played Civ, but I've heard from people who actually play Civilization on their PC. It was very limited and very shallow in comparison to the real game. But PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo DS. Instead of porting the latest PC version of Civilization to the console, series creator Sid Meier is reinventing this hallowed game for the console crowd. The result is a game that is still deep in strategy, but in a much different and more beautiful way. This newly designed civilization has more of an intimate feel to it, but still retains the series' amazingly complex strategies. Be assured most battles will still end with a nuke. If that seems like an accurate description, let me know. I might be giving it more kudos than it deserves. Remember, these are all previews. These are not reviews. These are just impressions on these games. None of these games came out at this point. 33 Rayman Raving Rabbids 2. I enjoyed a couple of the Rayman games. I never understood the Rabbids thing, but that's okay. It's just not for me. The Wii. One of the few genuinely successful third-party games on the Wii returns with more insane rabbit antics as the hapless hares try to take over Earth. Take the quirky fun of the first game and multiply it with a 4-player party mode, customizable rabbits, and 60 new mini-games that poke fun at popular culture and gaming. Cool. Just a fun, chill game. And then Hellgate London at number 32, top of the page. This was for PC, RPG. What is it? The next game from the creative minds behind Diablo. Grind your way to the fattest loot in the land. I did not know that. This is by Bandai Namco, not Blizzard. So when they say, oh, creative minds behind Diablo, they must be referring to people who left Blizzard. Why it's hot. Awesome online support and an incredible random map monster loot generator will keep the dungeon crawlers fresh for a very long time. So procedurally generated content. I'm surprised that was going strong in 2007. Okay, let's turn the page on to number 31. Oh, this game. Enemy Territories Quake Wars. You'll never guess, but I played the demo. For this one, and I kind of liked it. It was rough around the edges for sure, but my standards were pretty low in 2007. I just enjoyed playing whatever I could get my hands on. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. What it is: a Battlefield 1940-esque strategy multiplayer first-person shooter set during the Strog's first invasion of Earth. Why is it hot? Past the tight FPS gameplay, the ability to build and utilize a variety of vehicles and structures adds a new layer to this shooter. Yeah, I remember you could build. There's a little more to it than just shooting. So, it was cool. I don't think it did very well, though. Number 30, Contra 4. For the Nintendo DS. I never did have a DS. I really wanted a DS, but my parents at Christmas time mixed the DS with the SP, and so I got a Game Boy Advanced SP instead of the DS, and SP was really cool too, but it didn't have the touchscreen and all that. Anyways. What is Contra 4? Contra returns to its roots for its 20th anniversary with a 2D side-scrolling shooter on the Nintendo DS. What's crazy to think is that a game like Contra had its 20th anniversary in 2007. If you go back 20 years from 07, you're talking 1987. The sad part is that if we go into the future 20 years, we're talking 2027, which really is not that far away. I can't believe this magazine's, almost 20 years old. I don't understand where time goes. Offer large-scale platforming via the two screens. Mix in a little co-op and combine it with new weapon combos and a bionic commando-like grapple ability. What do you get? Probably a retro gaming rush. Cool. Never played Contra. This next one, Heavenly Sword. This was a huge game on the PS3. It's made by Ninja Theory. So you're talking the people who made Hellblade. And a few other games too. I'm not terribly familiar with their other projects, but Hellblade is a very successful game. In recent years, this was something that predated it. So what is Heavenly Sword? By cutting through bad guys... By cutting through bad guys with blade that is slowly draining her life. I think with a blade that is slowly draining her life. The fiery-haired Noriko avenges in style. Why is it hot? The swirling blades and animations look great, and characters' nuanced facial expressions add life to the dialogue. Cool. I got nothing to say about that game. Mario Kart Wii. Apparently this is a working title. You do have a picture. Never played this Mario Kart. I've played only one Mario Kart. And that was the Nintendo 64 version. I really would like to get number 8, but for some reason, Nintendo refuses to put their games on sale for more than $20 off. And the game's been out for like 5 years, so I feel like it should be like $15 by now, but the cheapest I can find is $40, and I just don't want to pay $40 for Mario Kart. So, I wonder what Mario Kart is. More Mario Kart, this time on Wii, with the motion sensing controls that implies, based on the trailer, a mixture of both old and new tracks will be present again in this version. Because Mario Kart rules, it may look like a GameCube game, but Nintendo was never disappointed with this series. Yeah, Nintendo's not known for graphics. They never have been. But their games strike a chord with everyone, regardless of what they look like. Speaking of graphics, I don't know if you know what game this is, but good old Crysis. I mean, what a masterpiece of a game, in my opinion. I didn't get to play it on the PC back when it came out. I had to wait until they ported it to Xbox 360. But I absolutely love this franchise, and I heard they're making a fourth one. They haven't said anything besides that they are making it, and that was like a year ago. But I hope that we see something soon about this game. Because, man, Crysis was a beautiful, fun sandbox game. It's for PC at this time. One of the best looking first person shooters we've ever seen. Crysis tasks players with fending off an alien invasion through lush jungles, frozen landscapes, and into the invading ships themselves. Aside from the graphics, the powers, armor, super speed, super strength that your super suit grants you are a blast to use. Yeah, this game looked so good. For years they made jokes about whether or not your PC could actually run it. It's made by Crytek, who also made Far Cry, the original Far Cries. And I prefer the original Far Cry. Not the very first one, but Far Cry Instincts. I love that game. And I got a lot of respect for Crysis because this game, just beautiful forests, open maps where you could run around and kill enemies any way you wanted to. And then there was a map editor, I guess, on the PC version that looked phenomenal. I was obsessed with making maps in old games. And I always wanted Crysis' map editor. Alright, 26, Lost Odyssey. There's a picture. I've seen that picture a lot over the years. Never played it. Looks like it was an Xbox 360 exclusive from... I've never heard of Mistwalker as the developer. Lost Odyssey is a traditional RPG featuring turn-based battles and an immortal 1,000-year-old protagonist named Kaim. It'll be the second title to come from Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi, Mistwalker Studio. Huh. Never played it. Echochrome. That's what Echochrome looks like. That's interesting. I wonder what's going on here. I am not sure. Let's see what Echochrome's all about. PlayStation 3 and PSP. If MC Escher had born... Okay, this magazine has some typos, and it makes me feel stupid reading them. If MC Escher had been born in the video game generation, this might have been the culmination of his life's work. Echochrome's simplistic graphics hide the incredibly unique gameplay, which has you navigating seemingly impossible puzzles by rotating the camera to hide the obstacles in your path. When a white screen with some black lines is able to garner more buzz than most AAA console retail announcements, you know it's something special. Never heard of this game. If you've played this, I'm very curious what your opinion is of it. They talk about it like it's the next revolution. Here's a beauty. Burnout Paradise at 24. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. What a game, guys. It wasn't as good as the old Burnouts, but it had its own awesome perks with like the open world and whatnot. If the Burnout series is about anything other than racing, it's about wrecking, and with Paradise, the first Burnout developed exclusively for next gen, the crashes look better than ever. Welcome to Paradise City, Burnout's hub world. You won't be picking challenges from a list. Driving to your next race is half the game's fun. Yeah, this game was awesome. I really enjoyed Burnout Paradise. The fact that we have not seen a new Burnout game since this one makes 0 sense. The developer Criterion is making Need for Speed games, I think, now. And those games, I mean, if you love them, good for you. I'm happy for you, but I don't think a single Need for Speed game has really been a success in years. And they really need to go back to their roots and make a new Burnout, if they even have the talent there anymore. Number 23, Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I own this game, but only recently. They gave it away for free on Xbox. I played the demo when it came out, and I really liked it. It was fun. So what is Star Wars The Force Unleashed? This game looks to deliver the Jedi-tastic experience Star Wars fans have been waiting for. In the trailer, Vader's apprentice Force pulls a Star Destroyer out of the sky and crashes it into a city. As the gargantuan vessel slides towards him, he pulls out his red saber. There's the picture for this game. It's hard to tell what's going on, but it was a good game. Did pretty well. Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway. think this is more of a strategy game, not a shooter. But I heard good things. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. The first next-gen entry in the World War II tactical shooter series, which takes great advantage of the power of the new machines. Extensive environmental destruction lets you shape the battlefield, and the series' hallmark strategy gameplay is in full effect. I did not play those games, but they always looked pretty cool. Number 21, God of War Chains of Olympus. I believe this was the PSP game, yeah. This came out before God of War 3. I'm assuming it came out after God of War 2, but before God of War 3 God of War 3 was like 2010. This PSP prequel leads players on the adventure with Kratos in a period prior to the first God of War titles. It's got flailing blades, mythological beasts, and more chilling backstory about the ghost of Sparta. If you don't know a lot about God of War, or maybe you've only played the newer God of War games, they used to be these hack and slash on crack type games that were so over the top, and Kratos was not a good guy. I mean, he was fine, he was just very angry, but he killed people and was more just there to cause destruction and murder everything. I never played any of them besides I played God of War 3 and loved it. Such a fun game. And then I played God of War 2018 and also thought that was amazing. I have not played God of War Ragnarok yet, but I plan to. I only have a PS4, so when it's on sale on PS4, I'll grab it. Number 20, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Let's take a look at the picture. There she is, Samus. Another game I never played. Only ever played as Samus in Super Smash Bros. So this is for the Wii. Corruption isn't just a first-person shooter, it's also an action, adventure, and platform game. Developer Retro Studios has honed its craft with 2 previous Prime games, and it doesn't look like it'll drop the ball the third time. With graphics that belong on one of the other next-gen consoles and controls perfectly tweaked for the Wii, we can't think of a better way to finish the summer off. I think that game did really well too. Most Metroid games do very well. Okay, we are now in the top 20, guys. And boy, does the top 20, or the top 19, I guess Metroid was in the top 20. This is a big one to start with. StarCraft 2. Recently, and of course, rumors are rumors, a rumor just came out a couple days ago that StarCraft 3 was going to start development. If so, that's great. I don't anticipate it, but this is one of the most successful RPGs of all time. So, PC only. The successor to the most famous real-time strategy game of all time, StarCraft 2 looks to maintain the flavor and play style of the original, but also add a bunch of fancy new tech and exciting new units. Yeah, StarCraft was a good game. I played the second one on a crappy PC back in the day, so I didn't enjoy it very much, but on my newer PC rig, I've definitely appreciated it. It's not as good as Command & Conquer. I'm sure that's blasphemous to say, but I was a Command & Conquer kid, so that's where my heart is. Okay, number 18, Unreal Tournament 3, made by the one and only Epic Games. These are the guys who made Gears of War. And, man, did they used to be heavy hitters before Fortnite. So what is it? Before there was Gears of War, there was Unreal Tournament, one of the greatest multiplayer games to ever grace the PC. There isn't a faster multiplayer game out there, and with all the technical know-how at Epic, this game is turning Gears of War level graphics in massive multiplayer arenas, featuring a single-player campaign and an all-new multiplayer mode in Warfare. Gamers are guaranteed endless hours of non-stop action. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 in 2008, interesting, and the PC. Yeah, I wish Epic would make games again. Once Fortnite became Fortnite, I think they just stopped making games. They're more of a publisher now. Alright, 17, there we go. Halo Wars, another RTS. Halo Wars was okay. Let's see what they thought. Xbox 360, a graphically impressive Halo real-time strategy offering from the studio that created Age of Empires. Did you read the above bullet? This is a perfect storm, provided Ensemble can nail the control scheme, and early indications are that it's on the right track. Yeah, Halo Wars was cool. It felt limited. You sort of could only build little bases and in very specific locations. And you couldn't have that many units. Coming from Command and Conquer games, for me, you could build any part of your base anywhere, in any way, with as many of any structure as you wanted. And some of the Command and Conquers had unlimited units. So it felt very limited, unfortunately. Probably due to the better graphics, but if they make a third one, I hope that they make it a little more open. Number 16. See, now we're getting into some big hitters, guys. Resident Evil 5. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. Some people didn't like this game. This is my favorite Resident Evil. That's probably because I don't typically like Resident Evil. I've tried a bunch of them, and I like this one just because of the co-op, I guess. Former STARS member Chris Redfield returns 10 years after the events of Raccoon City to combat a group of speedy, think 28 days later, zombie-like creatures in some kind of Haitian or African village. It's impressive when the only thing shown for a game is a 60-second clip featuring no story details, a mysterious setting, and undisclosed game mechanics. And it's still talked about as one of the best things at the show. Hot? Resident Evil 5 will melt glaciers. Yeah, I really liked it. Thought it was fun. Okay, turning the page. We are almost to the top 10. Number 15. Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Never played this one. I went from the N64 version to Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is for the Wii. The definitive video game combination of Nintendo's best characters in a 4-player throwdown. Smash Bros. Is like the ultimate collection of awesome. If it were a movie, it'd be a Godfather remake set in the Star Wars universe starring Spider-Man and the Terminator. Yeah, what's there to say about Smash Bros? It's a pretty significant franchise. Number 14, Ratchet & Clank Future. This is for the PlayStation 3. In Insomniac's brand of wacky, gun-toting platforming with a splash of RPG flair is in full swing for the 5th entry in the Ratchet series. They used to have great commercials for Ratchet and Clank. Do apologize about the plane flying overhead. This late in the summer, we tend to get a lot of fires around us. And just yesterday I was seeing helicopters with giant hanging loads of water being delivered to some distant fire. So there's lots of air traffic as they try to put those out. But yeah, Ratchet and Clank had great commercials for sure. From being able to turn enemies into top hat wearing penguins, to forcing robots to dance to a funky beat, Ratchet's weapon list has always been the series' highlight, and the future doesn't look to disappoint. I haven't played any Ratchet and Clanks, but good stuff. Number 13, Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. If you never played the rhythm games, man, what an experience. Kids these days don't really get the chance unless their parents kept some of their old stuff, but this game introduced me to so many of my favorite bands as a kid. Just so good. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii, and PlayStation 2. The follow-up in the widely popular Guitar Hero series delivers one amazing list of tracks, with most being master tracks from the original artists. Red Octane even went so far as to sign on Slash of Guns N' Roses fame, for a head-to-head boss battle against the guitar legend. He will also be contributing an original track. Why It's Hot. We played this one for hours at E3, and we couldn't help but be impressed with all of the work Neversoft has done to make sure Guitar Hero 3 has 3 more than delivers this fall. When asked about a Metallica appearance, the team couldn't talk, but they did mention it sure would be great if they could get one really good track. One. And sure enough, that was the track on the disc. That track introduced me to Metallica. And yeah, I knew Enter Sandman and whatever, but as far as appreciating a piece of music, this was the first Metallica experience I had. And for a lot of those bands, Iron Maiden, even Dragon Force, as goofy as they are, it was awesome to be able to play that song and eventually beat it. Why Is It Hot? Oh wait, I already read that part. So, Legends of Rock was great. I still have the guitar. It's the only guitar I have. It doesn't work very well. It disconnects all the time. But the game was super fun. And now we're into the legendary category. Metal Gear Solid 4. PlayStation 3. Guns of the Patriots is the final installment in the Metal Gear Solid series and promises to answer all of the big questions. It is also supposedly the last Metal Gear project from Hideo Kojima, but we've heard that before. We do know he goes on to make Metal Gear Solid 5, as well as that shorter spin-off, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain is the game. There's the hour-long, intro demo type game, I forget what it's called. Why is it hot? Stunning graphics and exciting cinematics make Metal Gear Solid 4 the feather in Sony's PS3 exclusive cap. Oh. And Snake might die. Yeah, this game blew me away. Funnily enough, I mean, I didn't care at all for the gameplay. I didn't really like it. I'm a Splinter Cell kid, and when it comes to stealth games, that's the bread and butter of stealth. So I kind of bum rushed through all the gameplay on easy every time I played it. But I sat in awe with the cutscenes in this game. And I will forever love the story, even though I couldn't follow a lot of it because it was confusing. This was a game that just, I mean, we're talking 30-minute cutscenes. At the end of the game, you're talking like an hour-long cutscene. It's ridiculous. But it was so epic, and I'm so frustrated that this is the Metal Gear that doesn't seem to be getting next-gen treatment. I can play most of the Metal Gears on my Xbox. This one just was never ported up to PS5 or Xbox One or Xbox Series X. So I'm hoping one day this makes it into one of those Metal Gear collections that they keep releasing. Number 11, The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass for the DS. What is it? Though technically a sequel to Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass is a classic top-down Zelda for the DS in the traditional of A Link to the Past. People get excited for Zelda no matter what, but this one will use the DS to its fullest. Movement is handled exclusively by the touchscreen, and you blow in the mic to extinguish fires. Kinda cool. Didn't play a lot of Zelda. Never have. Ton of respect for it, but didn't play a lot of it, so I don't have a lot to say. Alright guys, we're in the top 10. Every single one of these is a heavy hitter. And you might have heard of this game, I'm not sure. A little something called Assassin's Creed. Let's see what this Assassin's Creed's all about. Tour the ancient Holy Lands of the Third Crusade as a sword and dagger toting killer who is far more than he appears. Climb walls, leap between rooftops, and meld into the crowd in a refreshing take on the open world concept. The makers of Prince of Persia have incorporated so many new ideas into this game, it's hard to know where to start. From the marionette-style control scheme to the remarkable animations apparent in movement and combat. There's also a pretty huge surprise about what is really happening in the story, but we wouldn't dare spoil it for you. It's hard to argue that any other game this year will innovate in as many ways as Assassin's Creed. With that said, the team has some work ahead to smooth out some rough edges before the planned holiday release. Yeah, Assassin's Creed was a great game. It wasn't the best that Assassin's Creed would offer. In my humble opinion, that goes to Assassin's Creed 2. But this first game, as a Splinter Cell fan, it really piqued my interest. It didn't deliver on everything I wanted, because it wasn't a traditional stealth game, but I mean, it was great. I kind of wish they would go back to their roots. I think with the new Assassin's Creed Mirage, they plan to go back to this type of game, which is good. I prefer it to the more RPG style ones they have been pumping out. If you're not an assassin, and you're not doing stealthy assassinations, then why is it called Assassin's Creed? Okay. Number 9. Super Mario Galaxy, another heavy hitter. This was for the Wii. Nintendo's mascot is back, and he's ready to explore the galaxy, bounce from planet to planet, and perform space acrobatics like never before. You'll probably guess, but I've never played this game. We only get one of these Mario titles every 5 years or so, so you know Nintendo is making sure its flagship series is the best it can be. I would assume the Mario game prior to this was Sunshine, and I know after this they did make a second Galaxy. I wonder if it took 5 years or if it just a couple at that point. Considering Mario is usually known for defining how platform games control, it will be interesting to see what he has to teach us about the Wii's motion controls. Cool. This next one is, well, it needs no introduction. GTA 4. The official next one with a number in its title. After Vice City and San Andreas, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. As one of the most anticipated games of all time, there's a lot of pressure on Rockstar North to deliver a next-gen experience that backs up the hype. Having seen a lengthy demo of the game in action, we can safely say that this next installment is packing a lot of firepower in its gameplay, and its design is taking players to places and thrills that they never could have seen coming. This series' amazing sense of freedom is now backed by realism. You can't simply hop into a car and drive off. You'll now have to break its window and spend a few seconds hot wiring it. Adding this layer to the mix only expands the game's ability to create never-before-seen scenarios. Rockstar North hasn't gone back and completely reinvented the wheel. This developer has just added new layers and textures that will make the experience feel much different. Yeah, GTA 4, story-wise, I heard is probably one of the best of their storylines. A lot more mature than the other games. The gameplay was a bit goofy and floaty, and the driving was very buttery. I don't know if these words make sense, but if you played it, maybe they do. But I still really liked it, and it introduced online multiplayer, which was so fun to just drive around Liberty City. There wasn't much to do, but compared to GTA 5, where all you do is get blown up by people flying missile bikes around, I actually preferred this one, I think, in a lot of ways. Okay, number 7. Look at that. This is before Fallout 3 was a thing. Fallout 3, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. What is Fallout 3? This total reimagining of the classic Fallout franchise couldn't be in better hands than the folks at Bethesda, who seem committed to walking the fine line between maintaining the themes and tone of the original game, while pushing gameplay forward in new directions. Huge branching story paths will mean numerous replays, but the idea of the makers of Oblivion diving into the Fallout universe is a dream come true for most RPG players. Bethesda won't be releasing Fallout 3 until fall of 2008, and already the game outshone most titles on display at this year's E3. While some other big story-driven games might have stolen our attention for this year, our money is on this game as the RPG to beat in 2008. Yeah. By the way, we are now into games that I have played. I have played GTA. I have played Assassin's Creed. I have played Fallout 3. It was pretty good. I liked it a lot. I got killed by cannibals several times by accident, but Fallout's one of those games where you just get to explore. And that's where my love of Bethesda games comes in. I mean, with Skyrim, I mean, I haven't beat a single Bethesda game. I never beat Skyrim story. I just pick a direction and start walking and just go explore. And that's kind of what Fallout's like. Okay, number 6. One of my favorite shooters of the PS3, Xbox 360 generation. Killzone 2. A franchise I really wish they would bring back. I know that Guerrilla Games is focused on what's the name of the game? I forget the name of the game. Oh, Horizon. Duh. I know that they're focused on Horizon because it's super popular and successful, but man, Killzone was something else. PlayStation 3. The long-promised shooter for the PS3 is finally revealed, this time with real, honest-to-goodness gameplay. A gritty sci-fi universe now has the good guys on the offensive, fighting back against the hellish Helghast. While the team didn't come out and shout, "I told you so," they may as well have, since their live gameplay demo at Sony's press conference was almost as exciting as that original not-so-real trailer from a few years ago. So if you don't know the history of this title, a couple of years before it came out, they released this trailer to show it off. And it was very much an over-exaggerated representation of what the game actually would look like and feel like. And for a couple of years they were in some pretty hot water for misrepresenting what they were making. But when they finally announced it and released it, it was a beautiful game. Graphics were amazing. So to me, it lived up to my expectations. Incredible action and intricately detailed visuals are no problem for this huge PS3 exclusive. And the FPS controls are some of the best we've felt with a Sony controller. There were other shooters that outshone Killzone 2 at the show, but then again, Killzone 2 is a lot further away from release than some. Give it a few months and it could give the other big guys an even fight. I think it came out in 2009 at the end of the day. Okay, time for the top 5 games at E3 2007. There we go. Number 5. Little Big Planet. This game was one of the most fun games I've ever played. Well, correction, I only played the second one, but it was one of the most fun games I ever did play. Let's see what it is, and I'll kind of talk about my experiences. Little Big Planet is basically a do-it-yourself platformer. Gamers can use in-game tools. Oh, I should get into frame. Gamers can use in-game tools to create objects, and the on-screen character interacts with them to get around obstacles. Realistic physics allow objects to behave believably according to their size and composition. On first glance, the visuals and humor are what will catch your eye, but the game backs up the charm with clever gameplay. It provides a high level of freedom throughout the vast array of creation options, and will focus on sharing and ranking the user's custom content. If this is the kind of original, imaginative offering gamers can look forward to on the PlayStation Network, it makes Xbox Live Arcade titles look pretty primitive by comparison. Even in the face of Killzone 2 and Metal Gear Solid 4, this was the PS3 exclusive everyone was talking about at E3. Yeah, so this was a game where you could make your own levels. It was 2D side-scroller type stuff. But you could design your own levels. You could design the shapes of all the objects, the textures. There was so much you could do. And in the second game, I don't know what limitations were in the first one, but in the second one, you could include voice lines, text boxes, different camera angles, little cutscenes. It was so fun. I remember staying up all night making a map with a friend of mine. And to this day, we've gone back and played it a few times. It's just, it was so good. I really wish they'd make a new one. I know they went on to make Dreams, which was another game kind of like it, but it was even more complicated. And I felt like Little Big Planet found a good balance between complicated but also simple enough. Okay, number 4. Yeah. One of the best games of all time. A little thing called Mass Effect. This was the first time I ever saw Mass Effect, by the way. I didn't watch E3 back in 2007. I didn't really know what it was. So when I saw this is the very first thing I ever read about this game. Xbox 360. Back when it was an exclusive for Xbox, believe it or not. What is it? Imagine what would happen if one of the most highly acclaimed RPG houses implemented Gears of War-like combat into a game that spanned the entire universe. That's not quite accurate. It's more like the galaxy. That's exactly what BioWare has done with Mass Effect. Why it's hot. Battles usually unfold with the player using the roadie run to reach cover, then blindly firing over the top at a group of robotic adversaries. If that fails, a powerful force-like push is in order. The good people at BioWare know exactly what nerds want. Who in their right mind can turn down science fiction, big guns, gorgeous graphics, and loads of customization? Yeah, this game was insane. What a game. So much lore and detail and energy went into making this universe. And the second game is often considered the best out of the trilogy. But all three of them, they just all go together. There's really no picking a favorite. To me, it's just the Mass Effect trilogy is phenomenal. And we don't talk about the fourth one. Just the first 3. Maybe the next one will be good. Okay, number 3. Rock Band. With this and Guitar Hero coming out in the same year or close to the same time, I can't remember if Rock Band was 2007 or 2008. I think it was 2007, and maybe Rock Band 2 was 2009. But man, like I said, I learned so much about my favorite bands from these games. And Rock Band was a bit different than Guitar Hero because you could play any of the instruments. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, let's see what they thought of it. Guitar Hero was only the beginning. Rock Band brings Harmonix, that was the name of the company that made it, full circle with vocals, drums, guitar, and bass. This might be the closest you ever get to living out your Bon Jovi fantasies, groupies not included. It's all about the online this time, whether it's you playing 4 players with buddies all across the country, or piling up the hundreds of songs that will show up as downloadable content in the first year, including full album collections from the likes of Metallica and The Who. Yeah, the amount of DLC for Rock Band is pretty insane, and had this come out when I was a bit older and could afford it, I would probably have dumped hundreds of dollars into the DLC, but I had to beg my mom for extended allowances to pay for DLC and Microsoft points, so I didn't get to download as much as I would have liked. If this isn't the definitive party game of 2008, we'll eat our plastic toy guitars. The full band experience is amazing, but it's possible that the guitar lines took a hit in the process. Our early demos had Guitar Hero 3 emerging as the choice for the solo shredder. Meanwhile, the Rock Band drums, like Obi-Wan, are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Yeah, the drums were my favorite. I never did the singing, but guitar was super fun, and the drums were amazingly fun to play. I will forever appreciate my parents for putting up with that ridiculous amount of noise all the time. Okay, there are only 2 games left on our list. You could probably figure out what they are, but which one is number 1? And which one is number 2? I'm a little disappointed in where they landed, but number 2 is simply one of the greatest games of all time. Halo 3 for the 360. What is Halo 3, I wonder? The final installment of Bungie's masterful first-person shooter promises to resolve all the big questions left behind from the second part's cliffhanger ending. Huge scale conflicts are the order of the day, and the visuals have come a long way from the recent multiplayer beta. I thought the beta was amazing, but yeah. Having the Master Chief and the Arbiter fight side by side ought to be reason enough to sign back up for another tour of duty. But the amazing flexibility of the game film-saving function will let you relive the action again and again. Halo 3 is where they introduced theater mode, where you could save clips. You could save entire matches as a videos, or you could save snippets. This was before you had your console doing it for you. This was in the game, and it was revolutionary. You could save clips of all of your favorite moments. And yeah, they eventually also added Forge. I don't know if it's mentioned in here. Let's see. After seeing an extended demo of the single-player campaign, Bungie's baby still has it where it counts. In the FPS category, it will be hard to beat, but this year, Master Chief must pull out some big surprises to stand up to the competition's modern weapons of warfare. Hint, hint. Yeah, I think Halo 3 should be number 1, but I totally understand why it's not. It's a familiar franchise, so what number 1 was brand new and highly anticipated. And of course, it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Literally the beginning of the end for first-person shooters ever since. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. What is Call of Duty, I wonder? Infinity Ward, the developers behind Call of Duty 1 and 2, is back at it, bringing us a chilling vision of modern warfare, with locations all over the globe and intense firefights that will leave your jaw on the floor. There is little doubt that this game will offer a powerful, if slightly linear, first-person experience. That's all accurate. This game's campaign was phenomenal. Why it's hot. Each and every level of this game is frighteningly explosive, from the array of armaments to the heart-pumping soundtrack. This game puts you in the fight unlike any before. Not only is this graphically astounding, its play is frantic with masterfully designed levels. I would agree. In a year with Halo 3 and Grand Theft Auto 4, it's hard to believe that Call of Duty 4 is the talk of the town coming out of this year's E3. But playing and seeing is believing, If Infinity Ward can deliver a dominant multiplayer experience, this game may have no match. If only they knew where we are today. Call of Duty is literally the highest selling game of every single year, besides probably 2013 when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, and maybe 2011 when Skyrim came out. But even then, I feel like it sold more than Skyrim, because that was Modern Warfare 3 when Skyrim came out. But yeah, this game is definitely considered the top game of E3. Okay, well, that right there is a walk down memory lane for us mid-2000s gamers. I hope you saw some of your favorites in that list, and got the chance to maybe remember some that you have forgotten over time as well. This magazine's got a lot of other cool stuff in it, for sure. That would be fun to look through, especially the reviews section. There's a particular review in here that I'd love to dive into on the next page, in fact, for one of the best games ever made. My opinion, of course. It'd be really fun to read over that review with you guys. So, for now, I think we'll call it at 1 hour and 20 minutes. On the cover here, we've got Borderlands. This was the announcement of Borderlands before it was cel-shaded, before it was goofy, when it was more down to earth and gritty and visceral. So there's a really interesting piece in here about this game as well. So, anyways, thank you for joining me. I guess I'll throw in a little back cover advertisement while I'm at it. Good old 5